Andrea with Yarn Packin' Mama, and today I'll be showing you how to do the spike cluster stitch. So let's get started. First, we're going to start out with a slip knot. Just pop that onto our hook. And then from here, we are going to chain up some chains. Now this stitch pattern calls for a multiple of 8 plus 5 plus 1 for the chain. So I'm going to chain up a multiple of 8, which I'm going to do 16 for this tutorial. All right, I have my multiple of 8, which is 16. Now I'm going to add 5. And then I'm going to add 1 more for this chain. All right, now I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have 23 stitches, or 23 chains on my hook, which is 16 plus 5 plus 1. All right, so first things first, we are going to single crochet for 4 rows, starting in the second chain from the hook. So we are going to count 1, 2, and then I'm just going to work single crochets all the way along. All right, so this is the end of row 4. We're going to turn our work and we're going to work the spike cluster stitch. So for this first row of spike cluster stitch, we need to single crochet in the first 4 stitches. So we're going to single crochet in 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to work our first spike cluster stitch. So in this working stitch, which is the next open one, you count 2 stitches to the right. So 1, 2. Then from there, you go down 1 row. Insert your hook, yarn over, draw up a loop. Now draw it up nice and high because you want to keep these loops loose, otherwise they'll be too tight. And then again from the working stitch, the next step is to count 1 stitch to the right and down 2 rows. So we're going to count down 1, 1, 2. Insert your hook and drop a loop. From the working stitch, we're going to go down 3 rows. So we have 1, 2, 3. And again, pull it up nice and tall. Next, you're going to go left of the working stitch and count 1 stitch, and then go down 2 rows, 1 and 2. Then from your working stitch, count 1, 2 stitches to the left, and then go down 1 row. And then you're going to, from there, go into your working stitch. And I like to mark my working stitch with a bobby pin or a stitch marker just to really see it. So once you do that, you insert your hook into the working stitch, pull out or draw up a loop. You should have 7 loops on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. From there, you're going to yarn over and draw through all 7. Give you a little bit tight on that. All right, that was our first spike cluster stitch. From there, you're going to do 7 single crochets. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now we're going to do the spike cluster stitch, excuse me again. And so this is our working stitch now. And from here we're going to count 1, 2 stitches to the right, and we're going to count down one row, which is going to be 1 below our working row. And this is our working row right here. Because if you do one over here on the other side, it's... Anyway, so you go count down 1 row from your working row, insert your hook, draw up a loop, make it nice and loose, nice and tall, and then count over 1 to the right and down 2 rows. So 1 and 2. Insert your hook and draw up a loop. Now from the working stitch, you go down 1, 2, 3. Go down 3 rows, insert your hook and drop a loop. Go to the left by 1 and down 2 rows, so 1 and 2. Insert your hook and drop a loop, and then 2 stitches to the left and down 1 row, and then you go back into your working stitch, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 7 loops. And then from there you just go to the end of the row in this instance, which is going to turn out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then I'm just going to finish up this row, and we're going to work to the next. So now that we've done this first row with our spike cluster stitch, we are going to single crochet for another 3 rows. Okay, I am just finishing up this row 3. And then we are going to turn our work and start working this second row of spike cluster stitch. All right, so once you turn your work, you're going to do 8 single crochets in the next 8 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to change colors on this row just to really showcase what the spike cluster stitch looks like because they're not that easily seen in the same color there. I just wanted to show what you do if you're not changing color for the spike cluster stitch. Sorry, I'm untangling my yarn. Okay, so now I am going to change colors just to have it a little bit more apparent what these look like, these stitches look like once they're done up in the fabric. Okay, so now we're ready to do our spike cluster stitch. So from our working stitch, which is the next one in the row, we go over to the right 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then we're going to go down 1 row. And again, you don't want to count your working row, which is this one here, and subsequently this next space. You want to go down 1 more from there and count that as 1 row. Okay, now make sure you keep that loose. And then from there, we're going to go to the right by 1 and down 2 rows. So 1 and 2. And then from the working stitch, it's down 3 rows. So 1, 2, and 3. And then from the working stitch, you're going to count 1 stitch to the left and down 1, 2 rows. And then count 1, 2 stitches to the left from your working stitch, and then insert your hook, draw up a loop. Now you're going to work into your working stitch, insert your hook, draw up a loop, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook. Now, because I'm changing colors, this is where I'm going to change it. But if you're not changing colors like on the previous row, you are just going to yarn over and draw through 7 loops. Now from here, we're going to work 7 single crochets. So from right here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here we are at 7. And I'm going to change color here again, just to make it more apparent. Because the other ones you can hardly see. All right, now from here, we're going to do a spike cluster stitch again. So from the working stitch, you're going to count 2 to the right, so 1, 2, and then you're going to go down 1 row from your working row. And then we're going to, from our working stitch, count over 1 and go down 1, 2. And then working stitch, we're going to go down 1, 2, and 3. 1 stitch to the left, we're going to go down 1, 2. And then 2 stitches from the working stitch to the left. going to go down one row and pull it up. And then from there, we're going to go into our working stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. And then we'll have 7 loops on the hook. And from here, we're going to finish the stitch off. And if you're changing color, you're just going to change color there. Otherwise, you will yarn over and draw through all 7 loops. And then you'll just finish out the row. With single crochets. And that is how you do the spike cluster. So as you can hardly see the pink spike clusters. That's why I switched over to the green, because it's much more obvious what's going on there. And that's how you do it. So if you found this video enjoyable, please come back for more.